e-commerce work together. So Donal, thank you.
Just to start with what we did, we started last probably September, and within a month of launching our website, we'd won the best e-commerce website. And then after that, we went on to the eircom Spider Awards, and we managed to win the best digital retail. And the reason that we did this was because we followed a particular rule, a particular strategy. So I'm just going to take you through what we did, our example. Now, it's different for each industry. It can be different depending on what you're involved in e-commerce. But just to give you an example of what we did, this is our incredible story. And I won't be using that word again, I apologize. So just looking at some stats at the moment, the eIDR recently released this information that 91% of SME websites cannot process sales online in Ireland. So 91% of that, can process sales online. 68% cannot process payments online, and this would be using a payment provider like WorldPay or Relax Payments. And 51% don't have the ability to interact directly with customers through social media. 54% don't have a responsive design, and 66% don't have video content on their website. Now, this is something that we looked at before we launched our website, and we wanted to basically include as much as possible out there to try and make sure that our website encapsulated everything that you needed to be successful in e-commerce. 75% of Irish revenue on online and retail sales actually goes to the UK. So although recently they're saying that sales in Ireland are going to grow up to 21 billion by 2017, 75% of this is going to go to the UK. And the reason for this, again, is because when people are looking at buying online, eBay, Amazon, all of the UK companies are popping up to the top all the time. And part of the reason for this is we don't have the same standard of sites out there in e-commerce. So what we tried to do was come up with something that would boost us to the top of the search ranks so that we could get up there and we could be #1. And when people typed in printer ink, they'd see us up at the very top. To do this, we had to look at particular types of funding options, because to develop an e-commerce website that can do all of this, it's quite expensive. Now, originally we went through Enterprise Ireland, which is helpful to some degree. They can kind of point you in the right direction, but ultimately they're not set up for e-commerce and for online retail. As soon as you mention the word retail, the doors shut and you're told to get out as fast as possible. But they will redirect you to other particular groups. The local enterprise office as well, they can be helpful in terms of pointing you in the right direction. But again, Ireland is certainly not geared towards e-commerce development, and this is part of the reason why we have so few people at the moment in Ireland buying online in Ireland, and they're all mostly looking to the UK market. For us, we went and we entered competitions, startup funds like the eircom one. The eIDR have a website fund as well that they release every year, and that's probably the best chance at looking for funding. There's also a bank credit guarantee scheme which has been launched recently in Ireland. Again, these things can be difficult to get, because when you contact your local branch, they usually have no idea what this is about, and it takes a while for you to reach the right person. But it does exist, and you can get funding for it. What we're going to do now is just take you through the 3 stages that we went, which was from the concept to the design and then through to the deployment. The most important aspect for us was finding the right partner, and I think we probably went through 5 or 10 different types of web companies, and part of what we wanted to do was to make sure that the website was mobile enabled so that you could look it up on your iPhone, your iPad, and you'd be able to read everything correctly on it. We wanted a unique user experience. We wanted to target audiences for compatible cartridges as opposed to the original OEM products. We wanted to make the ordering process as simple as possible so that when people came back to buy from us, they could do it in literally 2 clicks. And again, the back end of the website, we wanted to automate it as much as possible, again, to simplify the process. Now, again, it can be difficult finding the right web company to design this type of site, and this is why we went with Artisan, who actually are a former winner here as well of the eircom Spiders. And they were able to do all of this for us, which was quite complicated. Part of our design as well was to come up with a brand. And we did design this character here, Carter, who is our he's not like the paperclip guy now. He's not annoying and he doesn't jump up every time you're trying to do something. But he basically guides you to the website, and he's there basically to show customer brand awareness. Again, we found that this has been really, really helpful with our social media, our content. People have identified MadInks with this Carter brand, and it has helped us to drive sales, which is the most important part of it. In terms of deployment, we used an SEO strategy, which we probably spend about 2 to 3 hours a day on this. It is the most important thing that we do. When we started launching our site, we didn't even exist in Google when you tried to search us. We had to basically put a strategy in place to get us up there to page 1 rankings. So what we do is we write an article through our web blog, we post it through each of the different social media networks, and we also spend probably about half an hour on each of these networks liking other people's content, getting involved with what other people in the industry are doing, and sharing their content. And by doing that, our own supporters, our little army of social media people, are also liking and sharing our content, which again is moving off into other spheres. Then we find that a lot of people in terms of the industry, like for us it will be Recycler magazine, they're also liking, sharing our content, they're writing articles about us, and again that's feeding back into the circle again. So all of this process has helped push us up the Google rankings. And as I said, we started with 0 traffic. When we won the eircom Spider, we went up to thousands of hits per day, and this is what keeps those hits nice and high for us. As I said, the SEO strategy for us, we started with webmaster tools, looking at how the site was optimized for Google. We do that an awful lot. We spend all of our time doing our own SEO work. You can pay for Google advertising, which is where you see the ads at the top of the screen. You will absolutely go broke if you have to do that, though, because the cost per click becomes so high that you're completely dependent on each sale to pay for each sale. So we avoided that. We did a small amount of pay-per-click in the beginning, but now all of it is completely organic. We also used national newspapers and other websites to promote our business, and again this created a huge amount of backlinks, and again that helped drive up our domain name up through Google and through the rankings. At the moment, if you were to Google keywords like low-cost ink, MadInks would be #1, which would be just underneath the paid advert there. Other phrases for us like cheap printer ink or buy ink online, we'd be in the top 3 position. And again, as you can see from this, 33% of people will actually buy from the #1 company. And then as you go down to #2 and #3, you can see that it drops to 18%, and then it becomes 1% and it fades away. So being in the top 3 position is really, really important for organic sales. One of the most important things as well here that we sort of focused on was our actual website, our web front, and this is something that people forget about. Once you put a design in place, you have to constantly reinvest in it. And people often say to us, how much did you invest in your website? Our website cost us $40,000 to put together, the first primary site. Now, obviously, we had people ringing us saying, you know, I have a friend who just left college and he can do this for €500, which is great and it's super. But the type of website that you need to get up to work in e-commerce, to have all of these aspects, is going to be expensive. And the usual budget, we went around about 10 or 15 different web companies. It's going to be in and around the 20 to 30,000 mark. That's the kind of money that you would need to spend. And again, we set aside something similar to that each year to reinvest into the website. We also, we have an SEO budget as well that we set aside, and this has to do with optimizing the site, spending money developing different parts of content on the site. And again, this is an ongoing process and something that you need to reinvest in. And we also do reinvest in new technologies as well, anything that helps simplify the user experience. I have an example here of something that we're just putting in place at the moment, which is called near-field communication. And again, this is something where we basically, with the products that we send out to customers, if you have a smartphone, you can put the phone literally on top of the product, and it will take you automatically to our website, to that product, and you can buy it in one click. So again, this is simplified. People don't even have to go onto our website anymore. You don't have to be on a desktop. You just literally have to put your phone down on top of the ink cartridge, and it'll bring you directly there to reorder. Then you press one more button, it's reordered, and it's saved your particular printer model into our system. For phones that don't have that, we also have a barcoding system where you can scan the product with your phone and it'll take you directly to the product again. And again, these are simplifying it for the customers, particularly people in offices. They mightn't have time to look stuff up on the internet. You can just scan the box. We also have a new thing which we're releasing, which is going to be a new app, which is called optical recognition. And with this, you'll be able to take a picture of your printer, and again, it'll identify the printer from our database and bring you directly to the products online. And again, that can be done in 2 clicks, and you're ready to repurchase. So this is what we mean by reinvestment in e-commerce and technology. It's not necessarily just improving the website, but it's improving all the different technologies that are associated with it. Finally, that's everything that we have done to date. And just to finish, I think it's important that you enter into as many of these competitions as possible. We actually just recently entered into the Web Summit, and it looks like we're going to be there now in November. They have a great program there. If you can get into it, they'll pay for you to go to it. They'll set up your stand for you. It's a great opportunity to meet people, and I think as many companies as possible should get involved in it. And I believe that there isn't that many this year as well. I think it's probably close at this stage, but again, it's something you should look at next year. That's great. Thank you very much indeed.
Great. Thanks, Donal.